Hello, everyone, and welcome to Joe's Hot Takes 25. I'm Joe, I'm your host. This podcast is all about asking the questions, provoking the thoughts. So, today, let's talk about something that's very important to all of us, our financial future. So, the question is, how much money do we need so that we can retire and be comfortable? And what about Social Security? Can we depend on that? What can we do now to get started to prepare? And how much will healthcare cost? These are real questions, and these are things that I personally am experiencing right now. Is what does it take to retire? What's Social Security going to do when it kicks in? What about Medicare? Things like that. Um, it's healthcare is very expensive. We all know that. Right now, for just my wife and I, we're looking at about $1,300 per month for healthcare coverage. So it's a lot of money. So how do we plan for this? How do we prepare for this? So these are real questions that we ask. And so we have to think about our retirement. So even though it may be a long way off for some of you, it gets here faster than you think. So let's dive into financial futures. So I start out here with this. I want to ask, are Americans prepared for retirement? So I've done a little research. So I wanted to see how many Americans are truly prepared or are preparing for retirement. And here's what I found. While many Americans express optimism about their financial future, a significant portion feel financially insecure. Surveys indicate that a majority are not completely financially secure. So that's a little scary. The majority of us are just not quite there. And we may be facing retirement. It comes up really quick. I remember, it seems like it was yesterday that I was thinking, I'm not worried about retirement. That's a long ways away. Well, guess what? I'm here. It just happens. Boom, we're retiring. Financial security and confidence. So, optimism. So, despite economic pressures, many Americans remain confident about meeting their financial goals. And then there's that financial insecurity. Many of us feel less secure than in the past due to inflation, rising debt. Look at the housing market right now. If you live in the Phoenix metropolitan area, you almost can't find a house for under $500,000. Oh, that's unheard of. A home in the Phoenix area is going to cost you probably close to $500,000. If you're not planning for that, I don't know. If you don't already have it, it's going to be tough. That's why we have to plan. Financial freedom. Well, according to the research, only 1 in 10 Americans, 1 in 10, say they are living their definition of financial freedom. Only 10% of Americans feel that they're financially free. So that creates for the rest of us, for the other 90%, anxiety. And so 77% of Americans report feeling anxious about their financial situation. I know I do. My wife would probably, if she was standing here, would say, yes, he is a pain in the rear. He's always worrying about money, always worrying about finances. Are we going to have enough? Somebody's got to worry about it. So that's me. So financial planning and goals, this is something that we need to talk about. Many Americans set financial goals, but a significant portion lack the structured financial plan. You have to have a financial plan. I was lucky. I worked in government, retired from a police department. I worked almost 30 years, and so I was able to get a retirement. Not everybody gets a retirement, so some of us have to also plan to, as we're working, put away enough money so that we can continue our lifestyle once we retire. A notable percentage have retirement savings, but many lack that retirement strategy, right? So people are trying to save, but how do you do it? And we do have emergency funds. A lot of us have emergency funds, but some struggle with debt and making their payments. So how do you justify I need to put money away for my future, but I also need to pay my bills today. That's tough. It's tough. Home ownership remains a goal for many, and though affordability is really a concern, like I just brought up, how do you afford a $500,000 house in the Phoenix metropolitan area? Oh, and did I mention the interest rates are ridiculous right now? Well, are they? I don't know. Interest rates are what? High sixes, sevens, somewhere in there. I think the first house that I purchased back in the late 1980s, I was happy. Of course, I was a kid. I had little to no credit. I was happy to have 14%. 14%. The house that I sold a few years ago in Flagstaff, I was at 2.5%. Those days are gone, folks. I don't think we'll ever see that again. I hope we do, but I don't know. Those were unheard of rates. So how much do we need for retirement? So to retire comfortably, this is the research that I did, and this is what I found. Americans believe that they need around $1.46 million in savings. That's just under $1.5 million in your savings so that you can retire and carry on your lifestyle. Now, that number has increased significantly over the past few years. So that number could even be higher now today because of what we see in inflation, what we see in the higher costs of housing, of our electric bills and things like that. So what are some of the factors that are influencing retirement and our savings needs? Lifestyle, right? Spending habits in retirement affect savings needs. So what's our retirement plan? Right now, right, I can log in as long as you're working, you get that check every week or every 2 weeks, and you're working and you log in and go to Amazon or wherever, and you buy stuff and you spend money and you go out to dinner. And going out to lunch, I saw a posting today. Somebody posted that they had gone to lunch in Scottsdale at a restaurant. There were three people for lunch. Their bill came to just over $60, and they still had to add in the tip. That is $20 per person to have lunch. And it's really, we might chuckle. You might be chuckling right now like, oh, who pays $20 for lunch? Well, wait a minute. How much does it cost to get a sandwich anymore? A hamburger. You're talking $12, $15, $17. So yeah, $20 for a lunch, that can happen. So we really have to understand our spending habits, how they differ from when we're working and earning every day and when we have potential for earning and growth versus when we retire and we're just sitting on our hands now and maybe don't have the ability to continue to earn. So of course, cost of living, retirement location plays a major role. We happen to have a home in Puerto Rico. People ask all the time, is it expensive in Puerto Rico? Actually, no. Yes and no. Yes, it's a little more expensive for some items because everything has to be shipped in. It's an island. So everything has to be shipped in, and there are fees associated with the shipping costs. But fresh produce, fresh fish, poultry, I was going to say vaca, cattle, all on the island. Fuel prices aren't that much different than they are mainland. But remember, you're on an island, so you're not driving nearly as much as you are when you're mainland. So these are things to consider. Puerto Rico being a U.S. territory, it's really easy just to go down there. You can understand the banking system. You can understand, pretty much everything. They have, it's a U.S. territory. It's like being in the U.S. With some island-style drawbacks, but far and above, it's a great place, but a lot less expensive to live. Certainly less expensive than Phoenix. You can still buy a nice house in Puerto Rico for $200,000, and you're on an island and the beach is right down the street. Something to think about, especially in retirement. Retirement age. The earlier you retire, obviously, the more savings you're going to need. And when it comes to Social Security, when you start looking at Social Security numbers, if you retire at 62, you get this much. If you retire at 65, you get this much. If you retire at 67, you get this much. So that's something else. And I think we're going to probably jump into that a little bit more down the road here. But so something to think about. When you retire, if you retire early, you're going to need more. And then inflation. It reduces our purchasing power over time. And is inflation going to rise? Is inflation going to lower? You know, we always see these peaks and valleys, or hills, if you want, even not necessarily peaks, but you see rising and lowering in costs across the board. So you have to be prepared for that. And I mentioned this earlier, but healthcare costs, guys, a major retirement expense. Oh my gosh, $1,300 a month for my wife and I. And we don't even go to the doctor. We each go one time a year for our annual physicals. That's it. I mean, thank goodness, but that's crazy. Income replacement. So you want to aim to replace a percentage of pre-retirement income. So you have to somehow be able to have your retirement making at least or close to what you were making when you were still working. And hopefully by the time you retire, you can pay off a lot of your bills and lower, bring down your monthly payout and keep your your income coming in above that. So there are some retirement savings guidelines, okay? So Fidelity, which is known for retirement funds and things like that, but Fidelity's rule of thumb, save 1 times your salary by 30, 3 times by 40, 6 times by 50, 8 by 60, and save 10 times by 67. If you, that's a rule of thumb. That's saving your salary. So when you're younger, if you can, it's better to save more. But by the time, what they're saying is if you start young and continue it, you can do it with a lower number. But if you wait till you're 67, whatever your salary is, you got to save 10 times that just to make it. So, wow. You're not going to make it. You got to start soon. T. Rowe's Price's recommendation. T. Rowe Price's recommendation is this: retire with assets totaling 7.5 to 13.5 times pre-retirement income. What? Retire with assets totaling 7 to 13 times more than your pre-retirement income. So that's a lot. And that makes sense. Smart Assets is another place that provides perspective. There's a $1.5 million nest egg can be sufficient depending on your spending. We talked about that earlier. You're going to need about 1.5 million. So go back up to T. Rowe Price's recommendation, and that's retiring with assets totaling somewhere between 7 and 13 times. So if you're making $100,000 a year, you got to save a lot of money. You'll have over $1 million. Okay, current average retirement savings. This is what I found of American families. The median retirement savings for all families is around $87,000. That's a baseline that currently Americans have saved about $87,000. There is an average that's higher at $330,000. So about $333,940 is what that average is. Well, to me, I'm not really good at math, but I'm this good at math. If I know going into this, I should have a $1.5 million nest egg, but I'm going into retirement savings with $333,940. I'm about $1.2 million shy. So we have to do this. So what about Social Security? That could help, right? So will it be enough? I don't know. Each of us put different amounts of Social Security or put different amounts of funds into Social Security every month and for however many years we work. So I'm going to give you just kind of a nationwide, this is in America, obviously, as of January of 2024. The average monthly Social Security retirement benefit is around $1,900 a month. That's an average. Some people get more and some people get less. But 2024, the average was about $1,900 a month. That is not enough to live on, I don't think, for much of anyone. Now, if you take that $1,900 a month and add it into what you've already saved, or for someone like myself that happens to have a retirement, then that could help. That can definitely help level the playing field as those, humps and valleys come through with the economy. So lifetime earnings impact your benefit amount with Social Security. Early retirement results in lower benefits. So you retire at 62, you're going to pick up a lower number. You retire at 65, 67, that number gets higher. So delaying your retirement could increase your monthly benefits. Is that going to work for you? And so if you've planned and you can, then you can hold off and draw a little more. But I'm going to tell you, use a financial planner. We have a financial planner. His name is Rock Klein. I'm going to give you a shout out, Rock Klein, Primerica. Primerica has been amazing to me. Rock has been great. He's done wonders with myself and some of our close friends with financial planning. So, you can look him up. That's Rock Klein. He's with Primerica over in Gilbert, Arizona. You need a financial planner. You need somebody that can look at these numbers and tell you where you're at, tell you what you need to do, and help guide you through the system. And if you're going to invest, you need somebody that knows what they're doing. But I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. So back to Social Security, your maximum benefit. If you retire at full retirement age in 2025, full retirement age, your max benefit would be $4,000 a month. $4,000. Clearly, Social Security alone won't be enough to sustain a comfortable retirement. You're going to need more. Unless your house is paid off, all your cars are paid off, everything's paid off. But if I had to live on $4,000 a month retirement benefit, remember, I'm paying $1,300 a month just for health care. And I can tell you that it's probably close to about $600 a month, probably in the neighborhood of $600 a month for my other insurance. So that's automobiles, that's homeowners insurance, liability umbrella insurance. All of that stuff adds up. Now you're spending almost $2,000 a month right there just for insurance. So that would leave you $2,000 a month to live on. So I hope everything's paid off. So what about it? So let's talk about these healthcare costs. The estimated average annual cost of health insurance for a married couple is around $23,968 annually, and that is in the United States of America. $24,000 a year is going to go to health insurance coverage. Break it down. You have employer-sponsored plans. Those usually have lower premiums and a little bit broader coverage. So some factors that may affect the cost: the location, The type of plan you choose, your age, and also income can certainly affect how much you're going to pay in healthcare costs. And then beyond the premiums, remember you have deductibles, co-payments, you have out-of-pocket maxes, and those all add significant costs. So on top of that, $23,000, $24,000 a year for just to have the insurance, every time you go to the doctor, every time you go visit a hospital, any procedures you have done, you have out-of-pockets on. Something else to think about. So what can I do now? What can I do now to save myself? So start saving now. I don't care what age you are. I don't care where you're at. Start saving however you can. Have money automatically withdrawn and put into a savings or into an investment account. Join a retirement plan. Certainly employer-sponsored plans like 401s, 401ks, those are awesome. They also give you some tax advantages, and those are good things to have. And now, back to my advertisement, my shout out, financial planning. Working with a financial advisor can help set you up and help you reach your goals. Financial planning is huge. Again, Rock Klein, Primerica, you're my guy. Thank you, Rock, for everything you've done for us and for our friends. Budgeting, prioritize savings and eliminate unnecessary expenses. Financial advisors from firms like Primerica, Edward Jones, or other companies, they can guide you through the market trends and investment strategies. So I mean, I don't like to give opinions. I just like to give you information and put some thoughts in your head so they kind of provoke those thoughts. But I got to tell you this. If you don't know what you're doing in the market, you probably ought to stay out of it. Sure, some people dabble and they make money, and some people dabble and they lose their heinies. So be careful. That's where you really want to use a financial planner, somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that understands these markets and certainly the fluctuation in markets. And some cheap advice I'll give you is this. So it's advice, not an opinion. And I learned this over the years. When you invest money with your financial planner or advisor and you have money invested in the market, don't look at it. Just don't look at it, right? You turn on the news. Today I turned on the news and it said, because of tariffs and the threat of tariffs and the tariffs going into effect is, I guess, what I should say, the market took a slight decline or took a decline today. Okay, I can't look at that. I can't look at that. You have to ride that wave. You know, if you're a surfer, you understand. As soon as you get up on that board, you ride that wave. You just keep going with the roll of that wave until it just fizzles out. You have to ride the wave of the market. And trust me, when you have the right financial planner and you're working with the right people, you can make money. And you'll be financially secure and you'll be safe. And that's huge. Okay, so I've thrown a lot at this podcast. I mean, we're talking about our financial futures. So, did we answer the questions? Did we at least get some ideas, and do we get some juices flowing and some thoughts? How much money do we need to retire? Well, it sounds like estimates are somewhere around 1.5 million, and that number goes up all the time. So 1.5 mil, it's a lot of money. And how do we get started now? Well, we can start saving, put away whatever you can, get involved in, if you're still working, see if your company offers 401ks, they may match funds. These are all things. Get a financial planner, talk to somebody. Be prepared for things like healthcare. How much is healthcare going to cost you? We talked about that. So these are our questions. And just don't believe that, I just don't think that it's a good idea to believe that we can survive on Social Security. I just don't think it's enough for us to survive on. So I gave you a lot of information, threw some big numbers at you, right? 1.5 million you need to save. Your average Social Security right now, as of January 2024, around $2,000 a month. Healthcare's costing us around $24,000 a year. Think about these numbers, plan, be ready. So these are real questions that have real effects on all of us. So everyone, I hope that this discussion sparks your curiosity about financial freedom and encourages you to take action. Take action. And take action today. Speaking of that, today, that's it. That's it for today's episode. So, as always, I want to tell you, please, please be kind to each other. Stay curious. The curiosity keeps you thinking. It makes you want to look things up and learn more. And curiosity is a beautiful thing. So stay kind to one another. Stay curious all the time. We'll see you next time on Joe's Hot Takes 25. Bye for now.